Hello everyone, my name is Ola-Soetan, also known as the Sacred Place Wife, and in this video I'd like to talk to you about getting more from your marital conversations. And I'd like to introduce you to a principle I call the first response rule. Now, what does this mean? You would agree with me that sometimes when you want to talk to your husband, it's almost as if the first thing that pops out of his mouth is the wrong thing. Like, you want to have a deep conversation or you just want to chat and he says, nothing. How are you? Nothing. What's going on? Nothing. Are you okay? I'm fine. Or he even gives like a totally lame response and he just frustrates you and shuts down the process of conversation. What I'm about to share with you, it's a guide that helps you to realize that the first thing that comes out of your husband's mouth usually is not a predictor of how the conversation would go. Might not necessarily be a predictor that he doesn't want to have the conversation or that he's not capable of having that conversation. So the law of first response says to you that you need to be able to get past that first response. You need to be able to walk past it, to know that it is not really an indication of a state of mind necessarily. A man can say nothing and he has many things in his heart. A man can say, I don't know, and he really knows. So it does not necessarily mean that it is an indicator, or the fact that he gave an answer that totally puts you off does not mean that he's not capable of giving an answer that is satisfactory. So how do we use this principle of first response? I'm going to give you an example. Recently, I asked my husband's opinion on like a business I've been working on. So I told him, what do you think about so and so? And he said, what do you think? So he asked me back, what do you think? Now this is the point where I roll my eyes and I'm like, if I knew, I wouldn't be asking you. If I knew what I think I should do, I wouldn't be asking you. Then he went, sometimes you really know what to do. You just need validation and support. Uncle, so in my mind, if you know that all I need is validation and support, why can't you just simply give it to me? How difficult can that be? But you see, at this point, I realized I was already getting so frustrated. Then I took a deep breath, calmed down, and then said to him, you're right. Maybe I need support. Maybe I need validation. So what do you think I should do so that, he does give me the support that I need, and I'm sure he would, whatever you say would give me some validation. Then he answered the question. And then the conversation went on, and I was, with the right questions, I was able to get more from that conversation. Now, this is a conversation that would have been shut down. This is a conversation where I would have even gotten upset because it happens to us a lot. And we start to say things like, oh, I'm supportive of your ideas. I'm willing to share my opinions. I'm quick to support you. When you ask me questions, I always answer you. You never answer. You never come up with an idea for me. You never support my dreams. You're just so this and that. And we begin to talk and talk. He get upset, wondering why you're so upset. He says, oh, you are a nag. Oh, go away. Oh, this and that. You get upset. And the conversation shuts down totally. Now, the law of first response allowed me to calm down, knowing that really this man is capable of answering these questions. He's capable of giving me ideas that I need. He's capable of telling me, giving his opinion. Whether I will take it or not, I know he's capable of telling me his opinion. So I'm resolute on getting more from that conversation. So I'm not going to let a first lame answer get to me. I'm not going to let something that just popped out of his mouth without thinking get to me and make the conversation over before it even got started. So that's basically what the law of first response is about. How do you get this? How do you practicalize this? Get the timing right. Many times the reason why conversation shuts down is because the timing is wrong. So my husband could have said, oh, I'm tired, can we do this later? Now, that's a first response. That's a first response, and that's not something somebody is trying to come in. Sorry, a child was trying to come in. So, if he's upset and he says, I don't know, or he does something like this, I then need to come. It can put me off, but I need to be able to get past it and either say, oh, you're tired, okay, I'll have this conversation later, or okay, I won't take your time, I respect your time, it will only be a few minutes, and all that. You just need to be deliberate and patient enough to get through to the end of the conversation you are trying to start. And this is going to be very intentional on your part. There's nothing we do in marriage anyway that does not require you to be intentional. So it's not like I'm saying this is going to be easy, but it speaks to a lot of intentionality on your part. So get the timing right. That's very important, because if the timing is not right, that can be the first shutdown that you experience. When you get the timing right, realize that you're not responsible for his responses. You're not, whatever comes out of your own mouth does not determine what will come out of his own mouth. You can be prepared, you can get the timing right, and he will still try to shut down the conversation. Be prepared. Know that you are not responsible for his responses, so that it doesn't shock you, it doesn't set you off. You don't say, oh, but I started well, oh, but I've been nice, oh, but I'm agreeable, why is he just disagreeing with me, and all that stuff. Then remember, it's not you. If you are willing, if you give answers easily, if you support him easily, if you give your opinion, it's not you, really. It's not you. It's going to do him the way he knows how to do. So the next thing is to accept that the conversation may not necessarily go smoothly on the first response, the second, or maybe even the third response. Stay resolute, stay there, and be willing, be patient, and be deliberate enough to get more from that conversation. Now, this is where the skill to getting more is. So when my husband said, what do you think you should do? And I'm like, I don't know what I think I should do. That's why I'm asking you. And then he said, oh, I always need validation and support and all that stuff. Now, this is where the rule that is the game changer comes in. So when you get what they say, you need to accept what they say, slightly just maybe add to it, redirect it, and pass it back to them. So it's a case of bouncing the ball back. So he said to me, oh, you just basically just need validation and support. You always know what to do anyway. And like, really what I felt was really anger. I wanted to just snap. What do you mean? Just tell me what you feel and let us move on. But you see, accepting what it says is very critical. Redirecting it is a skill, because I know what I want from that conversation. Bouncing it back in a way that doesn't seem aggressive is also a skill. So I said to him, I said, you're right, yeah, maybe I do need support and some validation. I'm sure whatever it is you say will provide that support and that validation for me. So what do you think? That's why I'm asking you. What do you think? What do you think? So that you can sort of validate what I'm thinking. Let me hear you, you know. And I said that, and I just bounced back the question. Now, there was nothing for him to bounce back to me, because I wasn't fighting, I wasn't shouting, I didn't even display any anger. You must be able to say this with as much warmth and interest in their response as you can, pull up from within you. As much interest you can show, as much warmth. Don't let their, whatever it is they've said, don't let it just destabilize or disorient you. Be deliberate and stay intentional. See that conversation through. So when he speaks to you and you want to see it through, accept whatever he says. Try to sort of just maybe add a little to it. Redirect it. Let it still be facing the point that you want the conversation to go. Not that he will say, you need validation. I'm like, okay, I need validation. Why are you saying I need validation? Can't you just tell me? What do you mean? You are always doing this. You are all. Make sure that it is still going in the direction where you want the conversation to go. The direction is that I wanted him to give me a response. I wanted him to give me his opinion. So I needed to add a little to what he has said, just sort of firm it up a bit and bounce back the ball at him. before you do this in the first response, second response, the conversation will get going. It will kick off. And the final thing I'm going to tell you is this: your husband is not you. You may be able to talk for 1 hour on his idea without getting tired. He doesn't want to talk, maybe because of a perception he has of you or anything. That's okay. Recognize this and honor his time. If he doesn't want to waste time, that's okay. If he doesn't want to talk too much, just want to give you the facts and move on, that's fine. You don't have to get everything in one conversation. So understand his style and be able to use it to move on. So, darling sisters, make sure that you are able to get past the first conversation, the first response. It's not usually the best. It's not usually all you can get. You can get more, but sometimes maybe because I'm angry or because I'm surprised because it's not what I would have done if I was in his shoes, and then I throw everything away. The conversation shuts down. But if you're able to get past the first response, you begin to build stamina in your communication style with your husband.